This is Millie Weaver. We are here in Washington, D.C. at the pro-life march, where President Trump will make history by being the first president ever to speak at a pro-life rally. There are so many people pouring in here. Let's go talk to some of these pro-life supporters to see why this issue is so important to them.
Women say that, it's their body, their choice, but when it comes down to it, this isn't only your body, you're sharing it with somebody else. So, yeah, it's that important.
What about you?
Yeah, it's just like, you can't just take somebody's life away like that, all just because you don't
It's inconvenient.
It's inconvenient for you. That's terrible. That's somebody else's life. You can't take that away.
I've had friends who had abortions, and it was hard on them, and they regret it. I don't think it's right. They're so young. They regret it.
To see young people go through that pain. I don't like that for them. I want to protect young ladies.
Well, I think it's the biggest human rights and civil rights issue of our time. I can't imagine anybody more vulnerable and more voiceless than the unborn child. So I'm really proud of our president today and all these people coming out to be a voice for the most innocent and vulnerable among us.
This is the most vulnerable of the human beings when there's no one to defend them. So it is up to us who are already here on this earth to defend those. So yeah, I'm a doctor and I'm pro-life.
Why is this issue so important to you?
Because it is essential to everything. Without life, you don't have liberty or the pursuit of happiness. It's elementary. If abortion is the deliberate taking of both innocent and defenseless human life, and if the measure of a country or a person has always been how you treat the least of your brethren, and they're no more vulnerable than these, so if we don't speak for them, who does?
Okay, I'm a mom of 4 children. I have 9 grandchildren, and let me tell you, all 4 of my children have been a blessing to my life. God bless me. And they've taught me many things. I'm a better person because of my children. It's not easy, moms. I know it. Been there, done it, done diapers, done everything else there. Struggled when things cost a lot, but I love them, and they're still there for me, and they'll love me till I die.
We just want to represent every child that's in the womb is actually alive from conception to birth, and it's really important to us. Yeah,
this is a really important issue. I know it's divisive, but it's life, and we're for life, and just for all the children and their futures and all that.
To just stand up for people, for babies who just don't have that kind of voice, it's just a really meaningful event as Christians to be able to share the love of the Lord and just stand up for people who don't know that.
It's our native tradition. Family is everything. And we want all our people to be here.
What about you?
Family's such a big thing for Native people, and getting rid of a life is like getting rid of a family member.
Pro-life is a big issue to me because I feel like that the unborn life deserves a chance to me, and that's why it's a big issue to me. Yeah.
Because I believe that life starts at the conception, and I believe that even when you're a zygote and you're basically only 1 or 2 days since sperm meets egg, I believe that you're fully human, and I believe that all humans should have the right to be born, and that's really important to me because I want to give the voice to the voiceless because they don't really have a voice anymore. Some of them don't, and so it's really close to my heart. I think ultimately what makes a human a separate being is their new DNA, and we see that from conception, new DNA is formed, and that is a new person. And I think that the only difference between an unborn baby and a born one is their size, level of development, environment, and dependency. And if we look at any of those issues outside the womb, like a 5-year-old compared to a 25-year-old male, if we continue to discriminate based on those things, it would just completely mess up our society. So, yeah, I think that they definitely deserve life.
Now that we have not only the ultrasounds but the DNA proving that life is a conception, they are abandoning science altogether and are relying on hysteria. They are like chameleons. They change their stripes and their focus to whatever it is they have to change it to. Also, the Supreme Court was the ruler of the land. Whatever the Supreme Court said went. Now, when it looks like the Supreme Court is not going to go their way, what are they trying to do? Attack the Electoral College. It's not about the Constitution, it's not about rights, it's about their agenda, and they will lie, cheat, and steal, and kill to protect it.
Because they're humans and they've already been formed, so there's no way we can kill a baby if they don't have a choice as well. So
pro-life is important to me because we feel that life from conception is a human being. That's why life is important.
Because I think that God created everyone to have an equal chance at life and to be loved. Yeah.
yeah, I believe that God calls us to love the babies and to stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Life is a precious gift from God. And if we don't respect that, what do we respect? So that's why my wife and I are here, and our daughter is here somewhere with some of her friends from school. And until things change, we're going to continue to come down.
There's so many, you can literally pick a family out who will take care of your child. You don't have to just give it up to some stranger, and they don't know what to do. So.
They're being taken advantage of.
Yeah, they are.
They're not giving the education and the knowledge to make important decisions like that for their lives. So.
And the fact that you can do it without parents knowing, I think just doesn't make it any better, because I know so many kids my age, and I'm 17, and they're having abortions because their parents, they're just scared of their parents, but there's so many people that would help them, so.
Yeah, definitely, that would love on them and their babies.
We hear about kids being taught that abortion's an option in school, being able to do it without their parents, and then we hear about gestational ages. I mean, what's the most important part for you?
I guess as a Catholic, I just believe in the spectrum of life from conception till natural death. So once a life has been sparked, I just feel like it's precious and it has a purpose, and that's what I would love our children to be hearing no matter what, whether it's disability or poverty or unfortunate circumstances. That doesn't eradicate or negate the value of that little life.
I was born 3 months premature. The doctors had advised my mom to abort me. And thank God she didn't listen to them, so 40 years later, here I am.
What do you think about some of the arguments that we hear from the left that you should be able to abort babies if they have any sort of disability or if they think something's wrong with them?
I think that anyone, even with a disability, is still a child of God. And that person should be born regardless whether he or she is perfect or imperfect.
Now, we hear this argument a lot from pro-choicers. They'll say, well, who's going to take care of these children? So, I mean, if there was an option where you guys were able to go and take care of the kids, would you be willing to?
That's a really interesting thing, because these same people who say this have gone over. I take part in, I have a spiritual adoption program, and we have a baby shower at the end of 9 months for the babies we pray for. And all of those donations go to the Community Pregnancy Center and help out. But they were making this argument and saying this. And then when the pro-lifers actually said, hey, they got a point there, and we started setting up the pregnancy centers and all that to help the women, to help them take care of their children, to choose life, and then help assist them in their effort to take care of their children themselves.
Open adoptions are, many agencies promote open adoptions, so they still support that mom, and they have this great relationship still. Allow her to see the child whenever she wants, etc. So there's that too, which is neat. But yeah, giving someone else a blessing.
Would you guys be willing to adopt babies?
I mean, yeah, in my future, I would love to adopt some children that aren't wanted by their parents. For me, I know it's a difficult topic. There's a lot of cases where it's really hard to keep the child, but I think it's worth it. I mean, it's a life. There's nothing that could not be worth a life, you know?
Yeah, I'd love to adopt children. I think the most important thing would be to support the women as if they're going through an unplanned pregnancy and they don't want to have the child. But there's families out there who really want children and people who can't have them, and I think it's such a blessing to be able to give that to somebody else.
Okay, so let's say that you guys succeed and abortion gets banned. You know, we're probably going to have a lot of babies being born who aren't wanted by their mothers. Is adoption something that you would consider to help with some of these children?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, like, I would love to be a mom someday and just love on these children who other mothers may not be able to provide for financially, or like their lives, like they may just not be ready. And I think as Christians, it's really special for the church to be just advocating for adoption and be taking in these kids who don't have homes.
My sister's adopted, and I think adoption is the most beautiful thing. I want to adopt so many kids. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm planning on adopting as many as I can.
It says abortion is not the native way. Can you elaborate on that and tell us how?
It's just not. Every baby we have is sacred to us, so it's not the way. It's just traditional way. We're not supposed to do that. So
Anything to keep a life on this earth. Life is such a blessing. Anything to keep a life on this earth.
As it is in our traditional way, when someone can't take care of a child, it takes, like I say, a whole village to raise a child. You know, everybody steps in when they have to, grandparents, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, whatever. So family is really important.
You know, that's true, because we think about it a lot where we hear women feel alone in it, and they'll say, I can't take care of it, right? But then they probably aren't thinking about their grandparents, their mothers, their fathers, their relatives that would step in.
There's so many people around you who are there for you and you don't even know it. Like, even everybody around here, we may not know who each other is, but at the end of the day, we're all family and we're all connected in a certain way. So they're never going to be alone.
Well, our language, we have clanship systems, and in that respect, even the aunties are called moms. So in that way, in that respect, we would go ahead and offer, or have taken the child as an aunt, as an uncle, as relatives.
You're talking about a lot of babies in the world, but also I like to turn out and say, you know what, women? How is history? Look at our history, and how has it changed our status as women? Have we got more raises? No. Have we been happy in our lives? No. So you know what? Changing abortion to have mothers having children and getting rid of abortion, we are now going to forge a new way to put money into daycare, to put monies instead of putting it into Planned Parenthood, who is taking us down, is to put it into better health facilities for women. Taking care of, our health, our children's health. I'm a teacher. I'm a second grade teacher. And let me tell you, things haven't gotten good. Things have gotten worse. Let's change this. Let's make it better for USA. Let's make it better for our people. Because we need life. This death is evil. So, pro-life.
So if you guys succeed and abortion is completely banned, we're going to have a lot of babies that are being born that maybe their mothers are going to reject them and don't want them. Would you be willing to be an adoptive father at some point and help some of these unwanted babies?
If that's what I feel like God's calling me to do, then yes, I would be willing to take that on as when I'm older. I would be willing to, yeah.
There's more demand for adoption than there are children even available. I read one study that said like almost 10 families for every child that's sought for adoption. So I don't think that's a huge problem as long as we can get those babies connected to families.
I mean, I'm 17, so obviously I would not adopt a baby right now, but I think that in the future I could definitely see myself adopting a baby. I know a lot of people who are adopted, and I also have older friends who have adopted children, and they're like absolutely the light of their life, treat them just like their biological children. And I think that if I wanted children, that would definitely be my first choice.
We have 4 children of our own, and it would, of course, perhaps be a little bit of a burden financially, but it is something that should be considered. Anything that you would add to that is adoption?
I would take in a baby if someone didn't want it, yeah.
Because we might have a lot of people that, a lot of babies out there that are unwanted and that they need homes, because we will see that happen.
People go out of the country for babies. Like, I know people that have adopted babies from China, so I think they would adopt babies here too if they were available.
Having 6 young sons, ages 15 to 21, I know that they are boys of life, and to see this many young people, it gives me hope in our future of our country. So I'm going to support as many youth as we can.
This is the pro-life generation. What we're seeing is a massive turnout of youth, young people in support of life. I've seen so many young teenagers, young women, just the youth is out here in full force today in support of life. We are definitely going to see some changes with Roe versus Wade in the near future. Judging by these demographics, we see young women, young people, they want to support life. Are you glad to see that President Trump came out and made history and had a speech at this march?
And I've just seen this has gone on for miles and miles and miles of pro-life Christian students from across the country. It's a really heartwarming thing to see.
Did you see that there's a small turnout of the counter-protesters, some of the pro-abortion advocates? I mean, their numbers are dwindling.
Well, everyone's going to see some video I have with them very soon, and it was calm and clear, and they made their position on population control very, very clear. And as horrifying as that might sound, that's basically what it comes down to: is they want less human beings.
Yes, they tend to do that. They tend to dehumanize the unborn more than anything. I find that pretty perplexing that they can just easily dehumanize someone when we know in the past we've seen how people dehumanized African Americans with slavery. Yep. They dehumanized the Jewish people in the concentration camps. And it's just another way to justify murder, isn't it?
Well, look, I mean, it's if we don't recognize when life begins, then what kind of society are we? That's one of the most fundamental questions that we can ask as a civil society and a country with laws. And if we just say life is based on another person's interpretation, well, extrapolate that's basically the horrors of the 20th century. That's what you're basically saying. And so it is an argument for people of faith, and even if people are not of faith, a secular argument of what are we going to say as a country of civil governance, of protecting those that can't protect themselves. But if life does begin by the fertilization of the egg, then that life deserves total and complete protection under the law.
What do you think about the large turnout with the youth? I mean, we see so many young people here.
It's heartwarming. It really is. It gives you hope, which is not a word you hear very often. But I really think this is a good sign for 2020. You have the president, unapologetically endorsing a pro-life movement, unlike other Republican presidents, by the way. You've had other Republican presidents that have refused to show up at the March for Life. That's something to note. And look, the tide is changing against the abortion lobby. We have to understand the abortion lobby is a business for them. Their business model is high-priced, subsidized, taxpayer-funded abortions. Just like the pharmaceutical companies, they're a lobby just like any others. That's their business model, and it's billions of dollars every single year. And they worry that their people actually might be waking up to this unspeakable practice.
In 1982, my mom became pregnant with me by someone other than her husband. And her mother-in-law talked her out of having an abortion with me. And so because someone fought for me to have this life, I'm going to do the same thing. And so I'm a candidate for United States Congress in District 16 in West Texas. It's a Democratic stronghold, and I was able to 2 weeks ago go to City Council and attain this proclamation, making El Paso officially Sanctity of Human Life Town. And I did that in a Democrat town without ever being elected to office. I had no idea the inspiration that it would generate. So last Saturday at our Southwest March for Life, it was read for the first time in front of 2,000 people. Wow. I could have never imagined that. I'm not taking any credit for it. I'm just giving credit to the pro-life organizations that have been supporting women and say, hey, there is an option for you. We want to wrap our arms around you. You don't have to have an abortion. And so my goal is to run Planned Parenthood back out of our town. They just moved back at the end of 2018, and we have El Paso is definitely pro-life. So there was Giving Tuesday, and one of the smallest nonprofits raised over $100,000. Was number 3 on the list. Planned Parenthood was number 50-something, and they only raised $9,000. And so El Paso is a pro-life town. I'm a Catholic. United States Council of Catholic Bishops said last year that during this election, the most important issue is the abortion issue. And I want to tell this to all Catholics right now. You cannot be a Catholic in good standing and vote for a pro-choice candidate. Don't be a stupid Catholic.
So here's our pantry. This is just what we have available in our pantry, but we've got boxes that we have stockpiled, especially of the X2, the iodine, because sometimes the supply will waver on that and we don't want to miss out on having lots of iodine available for our family. But we got the Secret 12 here. I've got my Super Female Vitality, the Brain Force Plus. Myco CX is a great cleanse to do. It can help cleanse your body from like candida, any yeast. The Gut Fusion is amazing. It's a great fiber supplement. We've got the Real Red Pill, amazing product right there. Just help your brain enhance itself and really focus. The Carnivore Digestive Enzymes, Ultimate 12, some of these are even the older versions, but we have the Ultra 12, the B12, we've got Knockout over here. Look, it's almost gone, okay? I'm not kidding. This is what we take. I think we might only have a couple. Look at this, we got 3 pills left. We need to order some more Knockout, definitely. Get that good sleep. I tell you, if you take Knockout, you will have some of the best sleep and the most vivid dreams. It's amazing. We have Vitamin Mineral Fusion, which is a tasty drink. I give this stuff to my kids even. They love it. Get those vitamins in when sometimes maybe you don't like swallowing pills, or you're picky about pills, or you don't like those nasty llama pills. This has a great flavor, and it's a way to get those vitamins and minerals in your body that your body needs. But I've got the Flora Life, the Advanced Restorative Probiotics. Man, if I'm ever having stomach problems, I take this and it just heals my gut. You know, sometimes being out on the road traveling, you can't always pick the best food. Sometimes fast food and other yucky foods are the only thing available. And this Flora Life is a lifesaver. I take the Chill Force to chill out after a stressful day. It's amazing. It just helps you relax, and we kind of joke around, hey, take a chill pill. Why don't you take a chill pill? Take advantage of some of the great products that InfoWars has. Me and my family, we take the products. I wouldn't recommend anything to you that I didn't also take myself and give to my family.